Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Upheaval, the Journey of Menachem Begin. And this is about the former leader of Israel, who we go through his life and his career and the influence that he had on the nation of Israel, and also a lot of the controversy and the polarizing figure that he was in his time. And this is from writer-director Jonathan Gruber. And this documentary, in general, comes from more of a traditional documentary standpoint. You have some interviews, you have some archival footage, it's spliced together. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting done with the actual technical aspects, but from what I understand, there's a lot of archival footage that had never been seen before. So obviously that's something special that this film brings. And in the way that this film, at its hour and 28-minute runtime, really dives into his life and the horrible things he went through, whether it was being jailed in a Soviet gulag, or like surviving the Holocaust and founding the Likud party, which is this far-right party in Israel, and a lot of his critics calling him a fascist, this far-right individual, which is very interesting perspective looking at somebody from Israel compared to surviving the Holocaust and surviving fascism. And this is that perspective you get why people feel this way. You get why people feel this other way, where he was one of the greatest democratic rulers of Israel. He cared about immigration and cared about everybody being included in the state of Israel. This is an interesting figure. I don't know if I would go as far as saying that how the documentary is put together is particularly interesting, but it does a fine job of portraying this story, this historical figure, in a way that paints the different sides of it. And that's something that I really appreciate, because a lot of documentaries lean heavily into this biased kind of look at things. And I appreciate that this film kind of looked at the different perspectives, look at a well-rounded approach to who he was, his critics, his supporters, and where he stood in terms of things and what got him there. You get his history. You get what he did as a leader, and you get the perspective of those who see him in different light. And by the end, I thought I learned a lot. And in many ways, many documentaries, that's the goal, is trying to teach you something. And I felt like this documentary accomplished that. I learned a lot about this historical figure I did not know about. And I also got to see it from different perspectives and a more well-rounded view. And that's not always easy when it comes to documentaries, so I appreciated it. Obviously, it leans on certain things, but at least it brings up those concerns and those perspectives of others, and it actually has some interviews with actual people speaking their mind and not just portraying this is what people had said about him, this is what people say about him. And in the end, I think this is a quality documentary. I would definitely recommend checking out Upheaval. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.